At the wedding feast at Cana, they saved the best wine to last. We decided not to take that approach. We thought we'd spread the wine out, but as it happens, there was one bottle left that was of exceptional quality, and it's young William. There it is again. Stubbs Smith. You sound like you should have been a butler to the Queen. So, works the Spur project. Some of you will be familiar with some of their work, and I don't want to steal William's thunder. They do great work, innovative work, creative work, and I'm really looking forward to their presentation. So please make William welcome.
I think it's interesting being compared to a bottle of wine, John. I think my vintage is a bit younger than yours. Just. I think Gerard reminded me that I had the toughest gig in the room. Thanks for that reminder. I felt my stomach just drop when you said that. And I was quite conscious of that, actually. When I got the email from John saying, you're speaking at the conference, you'll be the last person of the day, and I thought, shit. It's been a long day. Some fantastic information that we've all heard today, and I know I've learnt a tremendous amount, and I am truly very humbled to follow everybody that's spoken today. It is actually quite terrifying. So with that in mind, I actually changed what I was going to talk about. Originally, I was going to have some facts and figures for you and talk about statistics and social media integration and stuff like that, and I thought you don't want to hear that. So what I'm going to talk about is what we do at Spur. A little bit about the projects we've done, the campaigns that we've done, and really what we're about and how we approach this. I'm also then going to share with you some things that I've learnt, and I think thinking about them and hearing everybody else's speeches today, it's actually, I think, echoed a lot, and that actually is quite a nice validation. But it might, the last thing you hear today, hopefully leave you with some great takeaways from the long day that was today. I do need to warn you, though, that this presentation does have some pretty strong fucking language. I am assured, though, that I'm in good company for that. So thank you for your patience with that. So talk about Spur, talk about what I've learnt, and then some questions if I haven't waffled too much by the end of it. So my name is Will, or William, or the butler, apparently. And I'm a co-founder of Spur Projects. And Spur Projects is an initiative to tackle male suicide in Australia. I think really I just want to start this with answering a question that I get asked routinely, which is why? Why do you care about this? Why do you spend your annual leave days talking to a room full of people that you don't know? And the answer is that growing up, go through my teenage years, I knew far too much about the varieties of antidepressants than anybody really ought to know. I went to the emergency room far too many times to hold the hand of somebody that was having their stomach pumped full of pills or had their arms bandaged from elbow to wrist because they'd taken a knife to themselves. I also remember how heavy that kitchen knife was on my own wrists when I was 13. The other reason is that suicide is the biggest killer of men aged 14 to 44 in Australia. That's fucking ridiculous. That was the reason that myself and 3 of my friends started Spur about 3 to 4 years ago. We live in a country with blistering UV rays, box jellyfish, 7 of the world's most deadliest snakes. We have a thriving auto culture and a really quite vibrant drinking culture. And yet, the thing that kills us the most is actually ourselves. What the fuck? Really? We listened to that. There's a report that came out around about the time that we all sat down and looked over it and thought, well, we want to do something about that. Some great initiatives going on, but we have some skills. We can do something, right? So we formed Spur, and we started our first campaign, which I'll talk about in a second. One thing to note is we're entirely volunteers. We have no funding. We do this all in our spare time, and I have no social life. We have won some great awards in the past few years, which is nice. And really our overarching aim is to eliminate male suicide in Australia. Our philosophy with this is that men are not good at asking for help when it comes to issues of health, whether it's physical or mental. And ultimately, it is easier for a man to take his own life in society than it is to actually say, hey, I just need to have a chat. I need to talk to you. I've got a problem. That needs to change. At Spur, we are specialists in creating campaigns that challenge people. We do this by combining technology, creativity, and media. We're predominantly a digital initiative, and by doing that, we hope to reach as much of an audience as possible. Our focus, I want to make very clear, is about prevention, not intervention. And in fact, our prevention focus is very early on in that process. When somebody starts that descent into depression and issues with mental health, we want to tackle them right at that beginning. And by doing that, we hope to change the culture of mental health in Australia, to make it acceptable to ask for help and therefore reduce the evidence of suicide in Australia and hopefully eliminate male suicide eventually. The first campaign that we launched was called Soften the Fuck Up. It is really a response to the phrase of harden the fuck up, toughen the fuck up. We looked at that and we thought it's really at the crux of what's wrong with masculinity and health in Australia, which is it's not okay to have a problem or to have cancer and go see a doctor about it. You don't want to know about that. Or to say, yes, I have depression, I need to talk to somebody. We launched Soften the Fuck Up with video. It was a number of young guys talking about their experiences with depression, with suicidal tendencies, and followed up video with a prompt to actually have somebody talk to somebody if they were experiencing depression. I was actually one of those people in the video, and I have to say, even though I was so passionate about it, it was extremely confronting to have that displayed in front of other people. And it is a significant stigma that even for somebody that works in this, is often a challenge to overcome. Soften the Fuck Up grew. We've been covered in national, international media, amazingly. We have an online portal with blogs, resources for anybody that's experiencing depression or knows somebody that may be experiencing depression. We have a portal on Facebook that we regularly post links and resources to other projects and other talks, other resources. And we reach several thousand people a day, generally, with our posts. Soften the Fuck Up also is auspiced by Beyond Blue, that I think Tass has left. They have been truly tremendous with support and guidance in showing us how to actually establish this as a project and campaign. Last year we launched Get Silent, Get Heard. And that was an idea that honestly we kind of threw together pretty last minute. And it was really from the basis of we need to raise some funds for our next project. And how the hell are we going to do that? So we decided to challenge people to not talk for 24 hours and raise money, have sponsors to do that. And I honestly thought it was going to bomb. In a week, we raised almost $20,000. And that is purely by the average person wanting to help out. We launch video campaigns. We hope to do one every quarter, and we try to tackle it from a different perspective. One thing we have learned is that there is no one golden bullet for it. There are different conversations to have, different approaches to take. Ultimately, each of these videos is intended to be straightforward, to be relatable, and definitely approachable. This year, we have a lot of work to do. We have 3 major video campaigns planned, including a video for Tropfest. We have 4 major projects on the roster as well, and I'll talk about just 2 of them very quickly. The first is Fuck Up Night, which sounds awesome, doesn't it? Fuck Up Night is an idea about celebrating failure, like putting the wrong hotel on your presentation, like I realized I did this morning. And went to the wrong hotel, I should also point out. At Fuck Up Night, which will be hosted by anybody that's interested, they'll be given a handbook and facilitators to help on the event. This can be done in a pub or in a gathering hall, an eating hall, what have you. They'll be able to share failures. And the idea is that we are so often afraid of being wrong or afraid of having a problem that we need to change that. It's okay to fuck up. Fucking up is human, it's normal. Part of this process is also meeting somebody new. And it's important that we establish connections and we can share our experiences and have that human connection, somebody to go to, much like the hug show, which I think is a fantastic idea, and I might steal as well. This second project for this year is How is Australia Feeling? And this is something I'm really, really excited about. This is, on the flip side to Fuck Up Night, a truly epic project. For a period in October this year, we will be tracking the live happiness index, essentially, of the Australian population through a smartphone app, an online portal, and psychometric testing. We will then display these results in a relatable fashion and by lighting up city landmarks in each capital city. The purpose of this project was a number of things. One, to raise awareness. I think a key point that came out of Sally's talk this morning is about isolation. The difference that I've seen in people when they just know that, yes, somebody else feels that way. Somebody else is not perfectly happy but has some issue. Makes a tremendous difference. We want to display that. We want to include the entire country in a conversation about mental health and make that almost unavoidable to identify with. Secondly, it will provide some invaluable data on happiness and depression in Australia that currently is hard to find. So, that's enough about Spur. You can tell I'm pretty excited about it. It's been a pretty crazy adventure over the past 3 years, and we've fucked up quite a bit, almost daily, I have to say. So there's 6 things that I've learnt that I really want to give to you. And the first is, there is no such thing as a typical Aussie male. I have to admit, going into this, I thought there was, and I thought we'd have to tailor our wording to be very specific to one particular group, and that was wrong. I have a Google image search here, the first page of results, and it even includes Tony Abbott in budgie smugglers. I will let somebody explain what budgie smugglers are to Sally. I'm sure that's not an American term. But it demonstrates to you that I wouldn't really consider Tony as typical Aussie male, or a number of images on there. Yes, language is important. Language is so important in these conversations. But more important than anything else, just be straightforward, be down to earth, and be honest with what you're talking to people about. The second thing is, everybody wants to talk about it. I was actually amazed at the openness with people when I explained what this project was and what we were trying to do. I did expect resistance and people to go, oh, I don't know if I can talk about that, sport or something. Instead, people really engage with it. They want to help. And in fact, my key learning from this is that people want to do something. In fact, standing here in front of everybody, clearly this is an issue that people are engaged about doing something about. The problem is most people don't know what that is. And I'm so excited to see all these programs that are helping people to learn that, yes, this is something you can do. These are the tools that you can use. Literally a toolbox to solve this problem. The third thing is that men are good at talking. I remember growing up and being told by my sisters and mum and everything, you don't know how to listen, you don't know how to communicate. That's not true. Men are good at talking. We talk about all sorts of shit. But we are not good at expressing our emotions in terms of pain, of fear, of failure. Not because we don't have them or because we were born without some particular puzzle of that emotional piece. It's because we don't feel we're allowed to. And until we change that, until we enable men to feel that, yes, we can talk about these things, we're going to kill ourselves. Number 4, Batman is a better role model than Captain Kirk. I am so glad that you know who Captain Kirk is, otherwise that wouldn't be bad as a Jaws joke, I have to say. What I mean by this is that Captain Kirk rarely fails. He generally always succeeds, gets the girl, he maybe will call Scotty to get beamed up, that's about it. He's perfect. He's awesome. Batman fails all the time. He fucks up. He comes back stronger and he solves things. He has people that help him. He has Alfred, Robin, Catwoman, especially. I think it's important that when I look at my young nephews or younger men in my life, that look at me as a role model, that it's important that they know they can fail. And that's okay. That doesn't make you less of a man. In fact, a man is somebody who does fail and learns from it, fixes it, and comes back stronger. And that is why Batman's a better role model than Captain Kirk. 5th point is that a conversation has 2 sides. When we initially started Soften the Fuck Up, it was primarily targeted at people who were going through depression or had a tough time to go through. That was potentially a mistake. What I've since learnt, and what I truly believe, is that nobody comes out of depression or through a tough time and comes away from the edge of that building without somebody else there. Depression requires help. It requires people around you and a support network. If you are targeting suicide or depression, mental health issues in your community, you need to target the people who are experiencing this and those around them. both in the sense of, yes, it is okay to put up your hand and say, I have a problem, but also, yes, it is okay to ask Joe if he's all right. Are you okay? Do you want to have a beer? It's important to target both sides, otherwise we're not going to fix this issue. And the final point. This is, I suppose, really the ultimate thing that I sat down and I thought, what's the final point I could leave you with, the most impactful thing? And I guess I'm glad I did, because listening to everything today, it's quite emotional. There's a lot of work to be done. If you listen to statistics, it's a massive problem. I was asked the other day in an interview with Q Weekend a question that I haven't actually been asked before, and it actually made me stop and think, which was, are you optimistic? Can this be solved? Will you succeed? Is it going to happen? And it was really quite daunting. And I had to think about, well, are we going to? Is this actually making a difference? And I remembered something that we received, a message in our very first month of our campaign, actually. It was anonymous. It was sent to us via YouTube, and I still have absolutely no idea who sent it. Whenever I'm having a question of certainty or success about what we do, whether you leave today and wonder, is this something we can tackle? This is what I remember. This saved me 6 months ago. Things haven't changed really since then, but my perspective has, and I'm happier now. Thank you. And thank you all.
How good was that? That certainly makes me feel optimistic to see that amount of energy and creativity tackling this problem. So give William another hand. That was tremendous stuff. And while you're in the clapping mood, it'd be great if we could thank our sponsors, All Trades, Life, McDonald Dow, Living Works, Burt, Converge, the MIFQ, which is the Mental Illness Foundation Queensland, and our primary sponsor, CBUS. For without them, this stuff doesn't happen. So we really need to say thank you to them. So let's join our hands.